Hello, I'm Cameron Condor with C-Lution, and the project vehicle is a 2008 Toyota FJ Cruiser. I think the easiest way to describe what we've done here is just take a short video. This is no special filming job of any sort, just to get the point across of what we are and what we do. This is our accessory power module that we came up for the 2008 Toyota FJ Cruiser. Basically, this is your power distribution for all your accessories in this vehicle. We've added a shut-off switch right here. I believe in having a main shut-off for all your accessories for many reasons. You could be just as simple as taking it to the detailer, and when they're going to be in there cleaning things, a bunch of switches will get flipped, and you don't have to worry about that. You just turn that off before you head in there, and it doesn't matter if the switches are flipped or not. Someone's driving your vehicle that they aren't familiar with all that stuff, and you'd hate to have them run down the road with the ARB compressor running, or you're taking it into the dealer to have it fixed. Just turn that whole system off, and that way there's nothing there that they even have to worry about. You can see as we made a custom harness, all the wiring come out of here, and then it runs around right into the factory location of where the wire goes through. We used our loom also, and it goes right into the factory through firewall fitting. I would call it a through-hole fitting if it was marine, but we'll call it the firewall fitting. This is the battery of choice for this vehicle. It's a single battery system. We prefer to do dual batteries just to always have a redundancy, and then all your accessories on a second battery. But this is probably one of your best options for sticking with a single battery. This is a Die-Hard Platinum. It's got 205 reserve minutes, so it can handle a lot of amp draw with no recharge for quite some time. What we've also got is this is our accessory power to our accessory power module. And we have this here, what I call basically it's a liability bar. It's a short circuit protection that protects the extra wires on the accessory system. If there was ever a side impact or something that caused some crazy shorting of the battery system, it would pop that fuse and should stop all power to any accessories. I've got no video of the actual stripping of this vehicle. This vehicle was completely stripped interior-wise to wire everything. All the factory wiring for the KC lights, I guess not factory but C-Lution wiring for the KC lights goes up that pillar, and we actually went right through the footing of the rack, and it's completely sealed, so there should be no leaks. One thing you'll notice what we did is we put a nice little rubber grommet on the factory rack where the wiring comes out, and then we used our loom, which is chafe resistant, but it allows the water to run out of it and keep it dry. Way better than convoluted tubing. Like I say, me and convoluted tubing is I've just seen systems destroyed. I've seen boats stuck 60 miles offshore because of convoluted tubing. One of the accessories we added to the accessory power module that's wired off that is the KC 400 watt KC lights. And actually doing an amp draw check on those, I found out that they're pulling about 6 amps a piece versus the 8.8, and so they got actually pulling a little less than 100 watts, more like 72 watts, but just kind of food for thought. Next thing is we've added some switches. Everyone's probably pretty familiar with these switches. These were actually from the customer. He provided them. He's got zombie lights, which is powering the upper roof KC lights. And then there's another switch we went ahead and put in there. It's called for rear roof lights. Basically just some floods they're going to shoot at the back for, you know, whatever, camping or who knows, just good lights to have. Those are not wired on the truck, but everything's been wired to them, so all that really has to be done is the lights added. And so these, as you flip them on, the power light kicks on, so you know the circuit's on, off, the circuit's off, both for both. This is kind of where we stubbed out some wire for future rear backup lights for that switch you saw earlier. And they'll come out right, you know, the wire will be right here, so you can just hook them up fairly easily. So this vehicle, when it came to us, already had the ARB air locker and compressor installed, and they had the switches. The switches were not both in this location. The locker switch was here, but the compressor switch was to the left of the steering wheel, which I guess the only convenient thing with that would be is you didn't have to open your door and activate it. You could be from outside and have the window down and activate it. But we went ahead and put them next to each other because that just made the most sense, because you need the air compressor kicked on to activate the air locker. They basically work together. And also they are wired into the factory Toyota key-on accessory mode, splicing into the factory Toyota wiring harness, which is, we consider, a big no-no. Accessory should be wired individually, completely isolated from any of the vehicle electronics, just to build in that reliability factor. So we basically wired those into our accessory power module so they come on all the time. The truck does not have to be on, such as that, and no keys have to be in the ignition to activate them. The factory accessory plug is wired from the factory to key on position. Basically we've just deleted that and wired it to the C-Lution accessory power module. So this is basically, you got power all the time, so that way his CB's not kicking on and off every time he stops and turns his keys off and pulls them out or whatever. Or if you're running, you know, your GPS into there, it's not shutting off every time you turn the key off. It's basically just for low amp stuff, and it's just kind of a convenience thing. It's basically for doing that. Something we have done is we've wired the switches that we've added to your running lights. So when you kick your running lights on, your lights for your accessory switches come on just like the vehicle, just like factory. We've done it over here too. You can see that those are off, and they turn off with the running lights, and you kick the running lights on, and that way you can see them in the dark. It's very nice. Looks like the customer got mismatching colors, so he's going to have to go one or the other, probably, or not. We're going to go ahead and move on to the back of the vehicle. We've added an accessory plug here. So basically he's got a fridge. He's going to have a refrigerator in this vehicle. And so we've got this nice little switch here to kick one on. And so how we wired this, you could wire it in many ways. I think they'll probably want you to wire the switch to both of those outlets and turn them on and off. So what we did is we wired the switch here to this outlet. And so the fridge, the ARB fridge that he's going to be running, is going to only pull max, I believe, about 2.5 amps. So this circuit will only have a 3 amp fuse in it. And so we wired this plug here to this switch. And then what we did with this plug here is it's wired separately to the fuse panel, and it's got about a 15 amp fuse, and it can handle that kind of power. So my theory here is, you know, the customer's got something plugged in the back here, who knows, an air compressor that plugs into this, even though he's already got onboard air, a floodlight of something, anything. And let's just say it pulls too much amps and pops the fuse, and he just doesn't realize it. You know, maybe they're camping or whatever. And so he's popped the fuse, and if they were wired together, that means the refrigerator would lose power, and then he'd wake up in the morning and have you know, a soggy cooler, soggy ARB. I guess it wouldn't be soggy because there's no ice. That's one advantage. So we've chose to wire them separately. That way the refrigerator is completely isolated, and you can turn the refrigerator off just by kicking the switch. This switch has also been wired to the running lights, so you kick the running lights on and the fridge freezer light will come on, so you can find it, I guess, if you needed to. Running a wire to this, this has to go in about this location on this vehicle, just because there's a little cutout in the metal behind it where it allows all that stuff to fit in there. It was a lot of work running the wire. It's all marine grade wire that we use, dual strand, multi-strand.